Good morning, church. It's time for your 5 minutes with God. I hope you've had your coffee. I've had mine. I'm actually feeling a little fired up today. I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about, and it reminded me of the day we moved our first daughter into her first college dorm. She was a freshman at OU in Athens, and move-in day there is unbelievable. It is bumper to bumper traffic from the time you get off the highway. And I think it took us about 20 to 25 minutes to creep across campus to her dorm. And when we got there, we couldn't park anywhere close to the building to unload our stuff. And of course, she was on the third floor with no elevator. But when we arrived, we were met by my nephew, who was a junior there, and his girlfriend, Amber, who we had never met before. And everything was new for us. But from the minute we parked, Amber kind of took charge and showed us the ropes, showed us where to check in, showed us where we needed to do. We all grabbed some boxes and we went up to our room. And when we got there, we discovered that our daughter basically lived in a closet. It was the tiniest room on the floor. It was a corner dorm. It was only big enough for 3 people, and it was really only big enough for 3 beds, end to end. And I looked at that room and I thought, there is no way we are moving 3 women into this room with all of their stuff and 3 beds. But Amber was the old pro. She's like, look, we're just gonna have to loft the beds. I know where to get the risers. I know where to get the tools. You guys go down and get another load. And by the time we had brought another load of boxes up to the room, Amber had lofted one of the beds all by herself and was finishing the other 2. It was just amazing. And in my mind, I'm like, this girl is a worker. She is a keeper, Jake. And to our joy, they've been married and have 2 beautiful children. And I'm just so happy that she's part of our family. I love spending time with her, but she is a worker. And so today, that's what we're going to talk about. Are you a worker? God has a lot in the Bible to say about work. Even Adam, he didn't lay around the Garden of Eden and eat grapes all day. God gave him work to do. He was to care for the garden. In the Bible, Paul calls us co-workers with God. And in another place, in 1 Corinthians, he calls us co-workers with each other. Paul says in 1 Corinthians 3, the one who plants and the one who waters have one purpose, and they will be each rewarded according to their own labor, for we are co-workers in God's service. And so what is our purpose? What are we working towards? What is our one purpose? Well, for us, it's always been inviting others to know Jesus and encouraging everyone to grow in their relationship with Jesus. So Pastor Mike has been at Medway about 17 years this year, and we have grown. If you don't know our story, we have grown from 70 people to right before COVID, we were at over 1,200 people every weekend, including kids and teens. And so I have a lot of people ask me, well, how did that happen? And honestly, there's not just one answer to that question. In my mind, God just brought a lot of wonderful pieces together to make that puzzle, to complete that puzzle. But one thing that we did do is we all worked hard. We all worked really hard to invite new people to church and to work hard to make them feel welcome once they got there. A lot of our events are designed specifically to invite people who would never walk through a church's doors for any other reason. Our breakfast with Santa, our egg hunt, our free Mother's Day photos are just designed for that, for just new people who might never come through our doors. We would do things like hand water out on parade routes with our service times on a card. We would take bread door to door in the neighborhoods. One time we handed out free pumpkins on a street corner and just invited people to church. If you didn't know, at our current location, it used to be a drive-in theater. And for 3 summers, we showed free movies there because until we could afford to break ground on that property. Anything to invite anyone and everyone to see what God was doing in the place that we call Medway Church. And then we would work really hard to make people feel welcome when they came. Free coffee, free breakfast, greeters at the doors. Hey, did you meet so-and-so? It's their first time. At the old building, we had a popcorn machine in our lobby. And after every service, we handed out free popcorn. Everyone parked. We didn't have hardly any parking at the old building. We parked as far away from the doors as we could so that when new people came, there would be a free, an empty spot close to the door for them, and so they would feel welcome. And so here is the challenge and your challenge. Just because we've been in quarantine doesn't mean we slow down working hard to invite new people to church and work hard to make people feel welcome once they come. And that means in person and online, because that's what we're doing right now, isn't it? We're doing both, but our goal is still the same. Jesus says in Matthew 9, I love this. So when Jesus saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless. I don't know about you. I think that's a perfect description of how I feel during this lockdown. I feel harassed and a little helpless in this time. And so Jesus said to the disciples, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send workers into his harvest field. I am so excited about what God is doing at Medway. There are new people in the building who never attended church before this lockdown, and there are new people watching online. So just like Amber made us feel welcome our first day at college and showed us the ropes and helped us walk us through our first move-in day, you are now the old pro, even if you've only been at Medway 1 week, online or in person. What are you doing to invite more new people to church, and how are you doing at making people feel welcome online or in person? We are co-workers with each other and co-workers with God. I love you, church. We are not going to slow down. There is work to do. People need to know Jesus.